Man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense.
No, none taken.
That is right, none taken. I am the Movie Moron, and this is the Movie Moron podcast. As always, our practical co-host is here with us, Trevor Landreth.
Buenas noches.
And then our all-time guest, who I don't think wants to be here after seeing this movie, our all-time guest, Tristan.
Hello.
And I say that because we went and watched the new Mia Goth movie. Not Mia Goth only, also Alexander Skarsgard, which was actually one of the main reasons why I want to watch this, because the last movie he was in was The Northman, and loved him in that, so I wanted to check this out. And then everyone's fascinated with Mia Goth, but I'm not so sure if they love Mia Goth or they're just horny. We'll talk about that later. So, yeah, we are going to talk about Infinity Pool, a new horror movie that came out this last weekend. There was a couple different stuff that came out. Nothing came out. Women Talking hit a lot of theaters.
Yeah, it re-released.
Yes, yeah. Well, I don't think it hit our theaters at first.
Nope. It
Yeah.
didn't.
Okay. I was about to say that was the first time I saw it in ours. So, so a couple different things came out to our theaters, but this episode's a little bit late because I was at the Chiefs game, and that's why I was late last week too, because I was also at the Chiefs game. Just busy weekends, hard to get to the theater when driving 7 hours and spending 6 hours tailgating and then driving and trying to get out of that state and everything. It's just when you go to a game, it's a pretty packed weekend, so it's hard to get into theaters. But we wanted to get something out, so we checked this out Monday afternoon, and this will probably be out on Tuesday, but we'll see. But yeah, if you don't know anything about this movie, this is hard rated R. Unlike the people in our theater, you should not take your 7-year-old kids to go watch this movie.
Please do not do that.
If you two people are listening, I don't want to. Choice words to bring a legitimate child. Like
Yeah.
a 16-year-old watching this movie would be bad,
Yeah.
let alone a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
There is heavy sexual themes, heavy nudity, drug use. I mean, there's just about everything in the book. Does not hold anything
Violence.
back. Yes, violence and very graphic violence.
Yeah.
Doesn't hold anything back, which is fine for an adult audience, but not fine for a child.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. We were all pretty. Well, Tristan and I were pretty heated after seeing that, and then, yeah. But nonetheless, yeah, this is a hard R. So know that going in.
Yes.
Oh, I thought our whole thing just went dark.
Nope, we're on.
Yeah,
We're live.
it's just the background noise went away.
Don't worry. I keep an eye on it.
Yeah, good. But yeah, do you guys want to go ahead and give? I just want to give that preface out beforehand because this is not for all ages or for all eyes, like even adults.
Right.
And from what I understand, the trailer doesn't do a very good job of
Really?
explaining what it's about.
Gotcha.
I
I
mean,
knew
in term-
nothing. All
yeah,
I knew is
I
that
didn't
this
know
is
either.
gory
Mm-hmm.
and it's got Mia Goth. That's all I knew, and I expected some nudity too, but I didn't know to what extent.
Yeah. Yeah, Mia Goth's kind of making a name for herself as far as a scream queen that is a little more, like you said, kind of on the horny side. She's not afraid to let it all hang out, which, I mean, it is what it is, but that seems to be her brand at the moment.
Yeah, there seems to be two different styles of this horror.
Infatuation.
Yes,
Yeah.
with younger actresses. One is Mia Goth, the other one is Jenna Ortega. Both leaning into a different area of horror, which, like I said, yeah, is totally fine. They both have their place in cinema, so glad that both of them are getting work and where they want to be. Because a lot of people love Mia Goth and a lot of people are loving Jenna Ortega, so good for y'all. But this is definitely. We'll get into general thoughts here, but this is not on the Mom Watch. The moms across America, I don't think they'll like this one too much. But yeah, what were general thoughts on this one? It looks like we all came in with zero expectations, not knowing anything about the story.
I think so.
Okay, because I told Tristan we were gonna watch this, and she was like, "What is it about?" And I'm like, "I don't know." I think I saw a 5-second quote unquote clip
Yeah.
And I really just saw that it had Alexander Skarsgård and Mia Goth, and was like, people are talking about it, so it seems interesting at the least.
Yeah.
And I guess that it was. So, what original thoughts?
I thought the idea of this world that is being built, this underdeveloped country that the movie takes place in, the culture there and the people that are there, I was really intrigued with, and I really enjoyed those parts of it.
That's fair.
I think at face value, this movie seems highbrow, or it seems like it has a lot of deeper themes, but I feel like if you think if you think about it for more than a second, or if you really try to be like, okay, well, what are those themes and how are they presented in this movie, they fall flat. I think they're really thin. And I think it really shoots itself in the foot, no pun intended, in the third act, especially like the last 5 minutes with
I'd agree.
and the last like final climax to the end. It really just, the whole story kind of seems to grind to a halt and kind of change pace. And
It also feels like
strange.
it takes away from its its core.
Yeah.
Like it has an interesting core of what is actually happening here. And it kind of just like strips that away to just be almost a more standard horror.
Yeah.
And I think was a huge detriment to the film.
Yeah.
I don't know if they just stumbled upon it being a cool start and like the end is what they always wanted, or if they just didn't know how to finish the weird kind of like visual druggy abstract thing, and thought that they had created throughout the first act and didn't know how to end it.
Right.
And that's how they did it, because it did feel like a hard U-turn
Yeah.
from the start, and not even like a left turn. It felt like a hard U-turn, and it really never gripped you back. I feel like there was maybe something they could have done with the last 2 minutes that may have been able to kind of all like
Yeah.
circle it all together, and they just kind of the movie just kind of stops.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it doesn't really have a conclusion that feels narratively correct to the totality of the film,
I agree.
and stinks.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, and
I mean, this is some of my general thoughts. I was very intrigued
Yeah.
for a solid hour and 15 minutes, and it was that third act that really started to pull me away, and started disliking, almost like a Men review kind of thing.
Yeah, this did. While I did like Men better, this did have a Men vibe to it, which I think it's the same. Neon, didn't Neon also do Men?
I think A24 did Men, but
Oh
Neon
no, they
could-
did. Wait. Oh no, I'm thinking of Smile. Yeah, I think you're right. A24 did Men.
Blumhouse did Smile, I think.
Yeah.
Neon did do one semi-recent. They've done Revenge and Raw, but those are some foreign ones. Well, this is also a foreign film. It doesn't. They speak English the entire movie, but it seems like this is a Canadian-made film. There are a lot of Canadian producers or production companies.
Studios,
Yeah.
I like what you said though. That toward the last 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, I had the thought of, where are we going and how is this going to end? And I think I agree with you. I like what you said, that it seems like the writers or the director or whoever it was also maybe kind of had that same vibe of like, or maybe they had an end and they changed it. I don't know, but yeah, the last 10 minutes is they really turn it U-turn, like you said. But as far as Alexander Skarsgård being in this, I was severely underwhelmed with his performance in this.
I don't think his performance was underwhelming. I think just the character they wrote was underwhelming.
Yeah.
I think they created a character that should have had more depth to it, because it's our main character, and is ultimately pretty dull.
Yeah. Dull's a good
You're
way to say
expecting it to get to something, and I mean, even the movie and some of the characters expect it to get to something, and really it just is a vice for Mia Goth to. I don't want to spoil anything there, but
there's a reason she's the other lead.
Yeah,
in this movie.
and she is the lead. I know we're kind of telling Mia Goth's story through Alexander Skarsgård, in my opinion. I mean, I think he is probably the main character story, but like, he is the less interesting of the two.
Yeah.
You feel like it is going to be him eventually, but it really just never does. There's just some moments where you expect some turns to happen and some character development to further his character, and instead just becomes more of the same, or digressing of his character, which is even worse.
Right.
Because he's your main character,
Yeah.
which, in my opinion, I was quote unquote rooting for throughout the movie, along with some other people that kind of get thrown off to the side. The wife, for sure. That really does just get thrown off to the side. Is like a no character, which doesn't make sense, especially with the first act, which was very heavily Skarsgård and his wife.
Yeah.
And I thought the wife did good, other than the lip
Yeah, I did too.
injections.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, teach your own, but
Yeah.
that was something I noticed real quick.
Right. Yeah, but I think that's. I mean, no, I'm glad I saw it overall, but yeah, definitely there's some stuff to talk about in our second half.
Yeah, there will be a lot of spoiler stuff.
Yeah, especially because when you guys talk all vague like that, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sorry, we're trying to be vague.
I know, and
Yeah.
I should be with you, and
Yeah.
I can't.
No, it's okay.
I'm unable.
Well, what were your general thoughts? I feel like these are going to be real harsh, and understandably so.
Here's the thing. Here's how I felt. Attentive, and then a little confused, and then intrigued, and then more confused, and then irritated, and then annoyed, and then upset, and then angry, and then
Yeah,
confused again.
I'm completely on track. I think maybe your anger and stuff may have started before mine,
Yeah.
but that is my exact track of this movie as well.
Thank you.
Do I need to turn down the volume?
No, I can't hear in this ear, but it's okay.
Oh, I must have switched speaker ports with her on accident. Sorry.
Oh,
There was a moment
It's
where
tingly.
where I saw you look at your phone, and I was like, "Oh, Tristan's out."
I was like, how much longer can this go on? Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you. Like, there has to be something has to get me back because this is annoying and I need more because whatever's happening right now is I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're all in the same spot there. Where
Yeah,
because I looked over at Tristan several times throughout the movie because I didn't know how she was gonna feel, and most of the time for the first two acts, it was straight eyes glued to the screen, mouth not quite open, but like surprised and intrigued throughout like the most of this movie.
Yeah.
And then there was a real quick switch. I mean, there were a couple things I think she didn't love, but she was still intrigued. And then once the third act kept going
Yeah.
and going, and it just got worse and worse.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just me looking at her reaction. I'm not gonna say that I personally believe that, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I don't know about worse and worse. It's just more and more irritating
Yeah.
and annoying. And then you expect it to go somewhere, and I don't think where
Yeah.
it goes really pays off at all. There is no
Yeah.
payoff to this movie. I think that's one of the big issues.
And I think they try to make it seem like there is with like we said with
Stupid.
some of the there is a theme of like of trying to, you know, people say often you have to kill yourself to make your old self to like make yourself better, or like you have to kill off certain aspects of yourself. I've heard phrases like that before, and so
Yeah.
But this movie kind of bases itself around that. I'm not going to say how, but
No, that's fine.
I think they thought that idea was going to land harder and feel deeper than it actually does. But because of the stuff that happens toward the end, like even from like the 2/3 on, it's they kind of just lose all of that momentum they've built up with the you know, that culture and stuff.
Yeah, and there's a great philosophical question to be had
Yeah.
during the second act,
Yeah.
and it full on just does not
Throws it out
matter
the window.
by
Right.
by the third act. So the most interesting part of the film, which is supposed to be the center of the film, no longer even becomes important
Yeah.
by the end, other than to add a character that ultimately means nothing in the last scene. That's it. And yeah, and that's why it's annoying.
Yeah.
because it is really interesting, and I was thinking pretty highly of the film, as weird as it was for the first 2 acts. But yeah, that third act, I honestly think they had the third act in mind when they were writing this film, and they created the first 2 acts to get there, and they didn't realize that they had made something really cool along the way, or they realized they had something cool, but then they stuck with
fumbled the ending.
Well, they just stuck with what they originally wanted. Like they wanted that ending, and they wanted like that idea and relationship with all of these characters. Maybe you guys both know what I mean by that, but they wanted all of that, but then they made this whole story to get to that. And then they didn't realize, well, what we've created here is very counter.
It doesn't match up.
No, it doesn't match up at all. And this part is better than this, so you might as well edit what you have here to match what you have in the front. And maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it is they did just fumble the end and whatever. But because the third act does just feel like a more, I don't want to say standard horror, because it's not standard by any means, but it's more like normal to the like blood and guts and fighting and stuff like that than the first 2 acts. So it sounds something more normal that you would have that idea first and then somehow stumble upon the rest.
Right.
Or just that idea of, shedding off or killing pieces of yourself or the bad areas of yourself to better yourself or whatever that phrase was. I could definitely see that being there's some special word for it, but like a script theme.
Sure.
There's a word for it in the script writing world, where you have like a one sentence that's supposed to have the heart and idea of
like a thesis.
Yeah, well, it's not called a thesis. They have a word for it, but it's basically a thesis of a paper. But it's it's the
blank.
Yeah, it's the hook of your script to make people want to buy it and like the idea of what your script is.
Yeah.
What's up, Tristan?
I'm also really annoyed that movies, like, I feel like we just watched a movie that the ending was not clear and it like showed a flash of something. We talked about it recently.
I don't have my phone, so it's hard for me to say.
It like,
well, you weren't there for Tar.
No.
So it wasn't that.
Like we did it on the podcast.
Oh.
Was it Megan?
Nah.
Bones and all?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But we were talking about it because the end wasn't clear. I
know if you want to take a scroll, but you're good.
It was like very recently.
Well, we did Relative,
The
Megan,
Menu?
Puss in Boots, Relative, Megan, Avatar: Way of the Water, Violent Night, Bones and All, Glass Onion, The Menu.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
But
the point of this is that I'm tired of newer movies, or maybe movies in general, but I feel like it's happening more now. Like showing a little clip at the very end, and they're not clear about why they're showing it or what it means or what's going on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really tired of it. And it's annoying.
Yeah.
I'm like, I get that you're trying to be fancy pants and this is like a new thing or whatever and trying to be mysterious. I don't know what you're trying to do, but I don't like it. And I need you to just tell me what you want me to know. And it doesn't have to be in a cheesy way because movies do it all the time.
Yeah. So you're just kind of agreeing with Trevor, or have that same idea that it is being too highbrow for its own sake.
I only felt it there, though.
Really? Okay.
I think.
Yeah. I do feel like the movie is trying to be pretty highbrow, but mainly just with its visuals and drug use and how they show that.
Did you like all the close-ups of the facial parts?
Faces? That was fine. I thought they were sometimes misplaced. I thought
That's a good word for it.
there's times to do it that felt right, but I think they also just liked that theme and decided to use it a little too often.
I liked it.
Like I said, there were times, but there were also times where it just felt like they were doing it just to do it, and it didn't really add to you should have seen more of the scene and the facial reaction. Instead, you just got the lips.
That's exactly what I was thinking of with that, because we see hers and his in their conversation, and I remember thinking, what, like they're not even talking about, like, it's not any kind of like lustful talk.
There's
or
few times where I thought there were a few times where it was.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there are shots, but I
Yeah.
think in that one specifically with the lips, I was like, why are we on the lips here?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I think that's all I have.
You got anything else?
no,
Okay. Well, my last general thoughts is there's a little bit too much lactation in this movie. So, we're gonna do you
we're
guys
gonna leave you with that.
Yep. Do you guys recommend
No.
watching this movie?
I don't think so. It's fine, but I think it's too like it's too all over the place to warrant a watch, I would say. Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
You're gonna say no?
Yeah.
I was gonna try to find something real quick, but I don't. This is probably a no to a theater watch. Spending money to go watch this.
Mm-hmm.
I do think if you're if horror is your genre, I do think that it's
Yeah.
because it's interesting enough. If you liked Mandy, this might be right up your alley. I think it's better than Mandy. As much as I love Nicolas Cage and all
I
of
bet
his
Brandon
craziness.
would like Brandon Schmidt would like this movie.
Oh yeah. Along with that, I will say, if you liked Mia Goth in X and Pearl, yes, you should probably go see this. Because it's a chance for her to not just be a psycho. Not that she is in X, but in Pearl she definitely is.
Well, she's kind of in this too, but
Well, toward the end, but the first two acts.
her acting performance in the beginning felt more like an acting performance and not.
Yeah,
like
there's
just,
a lot more range in her character than being just one or two dimensional, like
Sure.
in her previous ones
Sure.
she's been in.
Sure.
So.
Okay. Well, I think that's about it for the spoiler-free part of the review. I do want to, if you guys are in the Wichita area, we were reached out to by, I think that's the right term, by the LunaFest people that run that program in Wichita. So if you guys are in the Wichita area and you guys want to support local filmmakers, there is a LunaFest at the Orpheum on March 8th. It'll be 90 minutes of women-directed shorts.
Very cool.
So just wanted to, they asked us to, I haven't messaged them back and talked about real sponsorships or anything, but they asked if we would want to, and I just want to go ahead and start promoting it now. So yeah, if you guys are in the Wichita area, Orpheum Theater, March 8th from 6 to 9, I think it's 90 minutes full of women-directed, women-led shorts.
Cool.
So
Right.
Rock and roll.
yeah, tickets are already on sale for that. So yeah, that's it for the spoiler-free part of the review. We'll be right back with spoilers of Infinity Pool. All right, we're back.
We're back.
After that short little break. So now we can get into all the spoilers. If you guys haven't seen the movie, we will spoil everything here. And you might not want to watch the movie if we spoil stuff.
Especially after our recommendations.
Yeah, and it just goes all over the place. So
Yeah.
you might not like the beginning if you hear the end, or you may, well, whatever. I don't know. But nonetheless, if you guys have already watched it, then you guys can hear us talk about it. If you're never going to watch it, which is probably most of you since we told you not to go watch it, you can keep listening and hear us talk about a movie you've never seen before. So spoiler stuff. What do you guys want to get into?
So I want to elaborate a little bit on the thing I said earlier about like the culture of this country. I really, really dug that this infinity pool thing was like, it's, they mentioned that it's something that this country has figured out how to do, and it's like, it's not necessarily a science thing, and like, developed countries have like, they're too caught up in the laboratory research about it, and this country just knows how to do it because of whatever reason, which I'm fine with, and that's cool. They know how to do it, whatever.
And they just didn't get too much into it.
Yeah, which was great, and that was I was totally fine with that. But then what I also dug was the masks of this culture. are like zombie masks, and
I
they're.
thought that was weird.
But I think the reason is because this doubling thing, is important to them, and they've discovered it, and they even mention, they refer to themselves as the zombies at one point. And I was like, this is a really cool, like, subtle tie-in to developing this country that these people are in, and I really dug that. And then that was it. Huh?
Until it's not.
Yeah, and then that was all there. And then they go raid the governor's mansion or whatever.
Which that was fine.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
after that, I was like, okay, so like, are we just done talking about this
Yeah,
kind of stuff?
it didn't really go downhill until he tried to run away. When Alexander Skarsgard tried to run away, whatever his name was, Alex or
yeah. I can't read that from here. You mean like from the bus?
yeah,
Yes, I would agree with that.
What was she
James,
screaming?
James Foster.
Jamie.
James,
That's what she
yeah.
was screaming.
After he beats the crap out of himself.
Well, no, it went downhill before that. I think it went downhill when he got on the
No,
bus to leave.
I mean when
Oh.
he's the because he gets on the bus to leave after they pulled a prank on him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I thought even that was fine.
And I thought they were going to lean more into that, and he was going to, but yeah,
Well,
but
kind
like you
of.
said, and then he
They
just
make
gets on
him
a
kill
bus.
himself.
Right. But I thought it was going to be more this because the movie up until then had been, like we said, it had seemed like it had relied on itself and set up themes and set up all these things. And then he just gets on the bus, and he apparently just knew where his passport was the whole time. And
Oh, I guessed that from the start.
That's so messed up. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to say something quickly.
No.
At the very beginning, I don't even know why these people were married, first of all. At the very beginning, when they go to the beach with the new friends,
Yeah. They said, "Why are you together?"
yeah.
Yeah.
She said, "Why did you choose him if he doesn't have any money and he's just a deadbeat? Why did you marry him?" She's like, "Oh, I don't know." Excuse me? Like, what? That's not okay.
I mean, I think it was just her being like, I don't want to just make a, she's just making a joke because she's uncomfortable because she doesn't know these people and.
No. I don't think so.
Well, and I think it also, not to excuse it or to like speculate, but then he gets jerked off by Mia Goth pretty quickly after that.
Well,
and I think that both those two things are supposed to like signify that the relationship is not good.
It seemed fine from the start.
That's what I'm saying.
They woke up in this resort. She was, they were sleeping together and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
They went out and had breakfast and seemed to have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was just more, the Mia Goth thing just felt like he was a writer that felt completely down on himself and felt like he was worthless, blah, blah, blah. And then she came in and knew him and loved him and blah, 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 and just got overwhelmed with that. And then obviously is not the greatest human being for just continuously allowing the stuff to happen. But not just that, but then also leaning into it. And I don't think he's supposed to be a good person. I think you find that out. Well, I guess you don't know if he's a bad person or his clone's a bad person, but the passport being hidden, I could tell was, I knew right away when he said he couldn't find it that he had.
Oh yeah, he was just.
Yeah, he wanted to stay. He was intrigued with whatever all of this was happening. And yeah, wanted to stay.
Yeah.
Or he was a skin, and so of course he wanted to stay. But all of that cool thing of not knowing whether or not he's a clone / skin or not doesn't matter because it doesn't lean into it. That's just what I'm calling it.
Oh, the double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They say something about skin. So
Oh
I'm just
yeah,
calling it.
they do, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever called it. They may have. Maybe that's why I'm picking it up. But I heard him say something about skin from the other, so I just called him the skin.
Makes sense.
But yeah, it doesn't matter by the end because he just keeps on killing or keeps on getting the double or himself killed over and over again, and yeah, I don't know.
And Did you have any more to add to that, sis?
Nope.
And the he gets cloned the first time, and there's this real big question of like, is he the clone or not, or is he? And there's even this really sweet shot where he is like kind of
Smirks.
smiling.
Yeah, he smirks at it.
Yeah. And that, like, to me, made me feel like, oh, he is the double. Like, the original was killed. But maybe he's not. But then he goes on and gets killed or cloned multiple times or whatever.
Yeah.
And so then that whole, like, conversation is kind of just thrown out the window.
Yeah. That's how I'm saying it created these themes and never went through with them.
Yeah.
Because I even thought, like, in that, his wife even says something about, you just stood there and watched it. You're not disgusting, but
No, I think she says disgusting.
Okay.
Yeah, she said it's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Mhm.
Maybe she said but
she
whatever.
said it's disgusting how you can sit there and watch it like everything's fine.
Yeah. Which, like, in my eyes, it's like different people process trauma differently, and like 100% could be him smirking at that because he's so horrified with what is happening in front of him. The only thing he can physically do is just like hold back laughter from it.
Right.
Which is a completely normal human response to seeing yourself get stabbed multiple times in a third person view. I mean, exactly. Like, I feel like that's not too outside the realm of possibilities for that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought her reaction was also 100% realistic for that situation and all of that. So,
absolutely.
But yeah, really disappointing that it did just become a muddled question if it doesn't matter whether or not it is him or not, because you've now killed him, quote unquote, not him, 5 times throughout this movie. So it either is him the whole entire time, or the clones are killing themselves throughout the film, which makes it less important and less interesting.
Which is kind of leading to what you said earlier about maybe they just had the ending figured out, where it's just this group of crazy doppelgangers that are just kind of wreaking havoc, and how do we get this character to that? And that would make sense if they just stumbled into that that kind of moral quandary.
Yeah. My actual thought is these are 5 or 6 absolutely insane people because of the stuff that they've gone through this thing. And like they're so fucked up from it that like now they just like they took enjoyment of fucking with this guy by having him.
That made me really mad.
Yeah. Which is what I don't like about the third act, is because one, it's not doesn't narratively fit with the rest of the film. It's also just annoying as hell. And if you're going to have that, I think you have to have him go on a killing spree and murder them all. That's the only thing that makes sense to that, because like you can have an absolutely dark ass fucking movie where he like fully just rolls over and becomes a slave to these people because he's broke, which has been done in movies before, which always sucks. And you have to have a perfect movie for that to be okay, because it's not fun to watch. And that's absolutely terrible to watch. So it has to be a great movie throughout for you to do that. Or you have that stuff happen and he breaks and murders the people that have done the terrible things to him. Similar to what I think Get Out kind of has. He murders a few of them and gets away, and there's a couple other movies like that where you have the Barbarian, I think, does that at least to a small degree. And I think that's what you have to do. Like, you have to have them either, like, you have to have if you're going to go that dark, it has to be so good. And this was not good enough, especially with the narrative switches back and forth and everything. Not good enough to have us be okay with him being absolutely broke. And whatever, and sucking Mia Goth's tit for milk.
That was disgusting.
And I think that whole scene, there's this kind of weird turn in the finale where Mia Goth kind of turns into like their leader mother kind of thing, and they kind of allude to it during one of the hypnotic or the hallucinogenic sequences, but it's not enough to like warrant any kind of merit. And then it gets to the end, and it's very strange and doesn't fit the tone that's already been set up.
No, the whole thing is setting up for him to try to murder her.
Yeah.
Successfully or successfully. I mean, but no, we just get him crying and sucking mother's tit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's trying to allude to, and it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
I understand that's supposed to be like a horrific sight or
Yeah.
something, but it just doesn't land
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
Especially with the way worse scenes throughout the drug-induced things of the lactating of
The weird orgy thing.
Oh no, not just those. Those made a little bit more sense.
Well, that's when the lactating takes place.
Oh
is
yes,
during that
yeah.
one.
But then
Yeah.
there was like solid things being lactated, not milk,
Oh, right.
which was dumb.
Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be alluding to what eventually happens, but what is that? It doesn't.
What does that mean?
It doesn't do anything.
Right.
Like I thought the lactating nipple was fine, but
Yeah.
then it had it like doing it like solid, like
Morphed and strange.
yeah. Anyways, sorry. It was just a dumb scene that like never ended up doing anything other than I guess being a horrific sight to see,
Yeah.
which I think is dumb.
Mm.
Unless you just want to, unless the directors want this to be a gore fest,
Yeah.
but that's not what it is. So
And I was even thinking about this earlier. There's not a whole lot of like, I mean, there's more gore and blood sequences and like Scream or something like that.
yeah,
In this one, the ones we get are intense. And
Yeah.
I don't want to shy away from being like, oh no, this is fine. It's not. It is intense. I think that's probably the most.
just short stretches of
Yeah. But I don't remember where I was
you
going
can
with this.
you can probably count on just over one hand the amount of absolutely like actual grotesque gore
Yes.
parts of the movie,
Yes.
and so it doesn't feel.
So like you were saying, it doesn't necessarily warrant a scene like that because it's already not exactly a gore fest.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the scenes drug on, and that was annoying me a lot.
Yeah. Because you don't like gore in the first place. So
No,
when
like the trips, all the trips and the like flashing weird lights, it just went on and on and on. They were doing just weird stuff. I'm like, can you just move on with the story? Like, I understand that they're doing weird stuff and whatever. I get it.
Yeah.
Just go to the next thing.
The drug-induced things would be like a 2.5 minute long orgy, sex, drug-induced thing.
Yeah. Which, like, once I get it, you don't have to stay on it. Like, I just don't understand why it had to last so long.
Like I said, Mia Goth fans, horny. That's just what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't particularly care for, speaking of Mia Goth, didn't particularly care for her whiny voice she kind of changes to when they go to shoot
third
her on
act.
the bus.
Yeah.
That like the more third act stuff.
Which is what people are like screaming that Mia Goth is like they've called out that scene and been like, oh, Mia Goth.
Oh, like
that's
it's good?
Like,
Yeah.
liked it?
I
Ugh.
think from
don't
what
like
I can
that.
tell, I didn't watch the movie when I saw the clip.
Yeah.
So, but it sounded like it, and I'm like, this didn't. When I watched the clip, I'm like, this just looks annoying.
Yeah.
And I
it
watched
was.
it.
It was
I'm like,
annoying.
this just looks annoying.
Right.
Yeah, there's been a few Twitter not film bro, but film whatever that I'm like, I don't know if this is it, man.
Yeah.
You're
Well, and
praising this scene, and I don't think it's all that great.
we're in the worst. I mean, we're in the worst season of all to be on film Twitter, where now everybody feels like, with Oscar season being a thing, or like with them being around the corner.
Oscar season and Sundance.
Yeah, everybody is like, I mean, the hot takes are hot, and they're fresh off the plate. So
Yeah, I tweeted out that Mia Goth. I didn't get the Mia Goth fascination,
Yeah.
but I also never watched Pearl. So
yeah. I liked her in Pearl. And the reason I like her is because she does a scene in one take, and it's this huge monologue, and then it's like all of her facial acting is great in that scene, but I liked her better in that than I did in this.
yeah, I liked her a lot until until the third. I liked a lot of things of this film until
Yeah.
the third act.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only thing. For me, I feel like that's the only thing I can really say.
Yeah.
It's because I liked a lot of the stuff that
Mhm.
happened throughout the film. Well, I don't know about liked, but I was intrigued.
Intrigued, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it seems like they're doing a lot of setup and really trying to like pose this question of morality in terms of like how do you be a better person, or just a like how do you reach your full potential kind of thing. And
They also had no actual payout about the speech about hanging the heads near the airport of the terrorists to keep them away.
oh, I don't remember that.
That
at all.
happened early on.
Oh yeah.
Which felt like it was alluding to what would happen.
Oh, right.
And then I still have no idea why the people helped Skarsgård or James and then sold him out to Mia Goth. Why would they even know who the fuck Mia Goth is? Her character?
Yeah,
And like
apparently
they ran them down and told them that he was in that barn, or like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and they helped him because he was like dying and
Yeah.
then not.
And it seems like this group seems to like be in on it with the detective, like with the police force or something. They kind of
And
just
why?
do whatever why? And there's no real,
Consequences for any of their actions.
it's,
Well, like in that scene when all 6 of them died or whatever, or I guess it was just
More clones, yeah.
James. Yeah. And then they all clapped at the end. I'm like, that's so messed up. And like, what are they learning? Not, that they can do whatever they want because they're not going to die.
yeah.
And they just have to cope with seeing it. And apparently they don't care about that. So
Yeah. Which also begs to question why is the state allowing them to
Yeah.
just keep.
It seems like they pay a significant amount of money.
Yeah, but it still
But-
doesn't.
I mean, yeah, and like I think that's the reason, but it's paper thin. It's money paper thin.
Yeah, because they're literally went around and was about to kill like 3 of the like main people of this country, and like if they die, there is no cloning process to like if your person dies, you die. And I thought it was smart of them to show that what's his face, the husband of Mia Goth, was limping after getting shot.
Yeah.
The entire movie. So like there is no just like, oh, I can get a new clone of myself and be all Gucci.
Yeah.
Like no, if you die when you're doing the stupid stuff, or if they kill people, those like that person is dead. You don't just make a clone of a dead person or a skin or double or they usually call them I think doubles, but nonetheless, there was as the movie progressed, it got more and more unsound logic, which was really disappointing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what the letterbox rating on this is. What is it?
3.4.
That sounds about accurate with how highbrow it kind of is.
Yeah.
I thought Tristan was laughing at that.
no, I was sighing.
Oh, that's really sad.
What?
You People is getting a 45%. It actually looks funny. This has an 88% on
Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah.
That's very sad. But it's not doing well with audience with a 52%. So that sounds more accurate.
Yeah. Well, and like, I mean, if you're looking at it in terms of like, does this movie work? Yes. At the end of the day, yes, it does. However, this had the potential to really delve deep into some stuff. Well, even like I'm looking at your screen of Rotten Tomatoes pulled up. He wears a mask of like a jester, and you kind of come to find out at the end he's the big joke. And so, at that little stuff that just seems so accidental and not cohesive. So I mean, the movie works. But it could have been so much better had it been thought through a little bit more. If the script just had a few more revisions, maybe it could have been something good. But
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still looking at some Rotten Tomatoes stuff and still very upset with Megan being at 94%.
Man, people love it so much, and I don't know why.
Megan's a 94%.
Yeah.
Yes.
People love it.
Apparently.
Yep.
But
Yeah, well, my stepmom really liked Shotgun Wedding at a 47%. So
oh,
Hey, I would rather you like a movie that has a low score.
60% audience score though.
That's okay.
Okay, you guys got anything else you want to say about this movie?
I don't think so.
I don't understand the ending. Did he stay at the resort?
Yeah.
And he was just dreaming of being on the bus to go back home with
No,
him?
he went on the bus to go home, and then he went into the airport, and then he never left and just went back to the resort.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. in
Yeah,
my
I don't know
life.
what it's really supposed to mean.
Yeah.
Other than, like, I guess he's just going to wait there until they come back.
Why would you do that?
He's a little puppy dog that got broke.
Oh my gosh. That is making me more mad.
I don't know if that's really what it means, but I don't know, like, what it really does mean.
Yeah, what else could it be? Yeah.
Um,
I remember thinking maybe it's like he left, but maybe his mind is always going to be there.
yeah,
Something like that. But
that's too meta.
yeah.
See, that's why
metaphoric.
you have to explain things sometimes, movies.
Yeah, that's too metaphoric. I don't know if that's the good thing. Like the good thing they could have been trying to say with that is it's him trying to process what has happened, and he can't go back to his wife yet because he needs time to process it. But I
Yeah.
don't think.
I
don't
wouldn't-
think.
I
I don't
wouldn't stay
think
there
that's
to
what it
process
was.
nothing.
well, and like that's
Well, they're all gone.
and that's
So?
that's a question early on in the movie where the guy asks him point blank. He goes, "Do you think you're you, or are you the double?" And then that question, that's such a intense. You could have had a whole scene about that, but he asks it,
And it's over.
and then it's gone.
And that's what I was thinking the whole time too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid, but
I was really hoping there was gonna be like he was gonna change his plane ticket to go to where Mia Goth and and murder
He's
them
gonna throw up.
and murder them in their
Oh,
house.
kill them?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Or him to go through and murder all of them.
Yeah.
Like for making him their bitch, basically.
basically,
And that would have been I would have been more like, okay.
yeah.
But that's not what we got.
I will say one more good thing.
Nope.
The doubling with Alexander Skarsgard, I thought worked really well. They did some fancy camera work between him and whoever was playing his stunt double. I never like saw it and thought, oh, that's a stunt double, or like, oh, that looks not great. They did a good job.
Yeah.
Switching doing the camera work there. So
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the dog self never that doesn't really make sense in my eyes.
what about it?
James's dog form.
Mm-hmm.
How does he become like?
How is he a dog?
I think it just
Yeah.
like you said, he's a broke little boy.
But they
and-
made a form of him. Like
no, he's still a human.
But he thinks he's a dog.
Yeah, I think that's just supposed for the scene to
Yeah.
happen the way it is, or who knows.
Stupid.
Basically,
Irritating. Annoying.
correct.
yeah, it's just I don't know. It's really annoying to see how much Mia Goth's character. I should probably just look at her name at this point.
Gabby.
Is so infatuated with James throughout the first two
Yeah.
things, wanting him and his double to have a
Yeah.
three-way with her,
Yeah.
and then him apparently be a joke that they're all playing with the whole time, just doesn't tonally make sense.
Yep.
And it's very annoying. So
Yeah.
on that, what are your guys' ratings?
3.
2.
I think 2.5. I want to say 3, but the end really messed it.
Well, and I wanted to say 4 when I first got out of it, but between when we saw it and then now talking about it,
Four
I'd say
4
3.
was where I was going
Yeah.
throughout the movie, and it really just took a bad U-turn and never redirected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Never recovered.
No, and if you can land the end of a movie, landing the end of a movie is much better than not having a great first and second act and nailing the end.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's what happened. And I don't know if that's everyone, but it seems to be all of our views. So yeah. So that's our thought. Next week, unfortunately, I don't have my phone to show me all.
Knock
of our
at the
next.
Cabin comes
Knock-
out next
yep.
week.
Knock at the Cabin, M. Night Shyamalan's new movie with Dave Bautista.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yep.
And I like that statement he said recently about he's leaving Guardians of the Galaxy, and his statement was, he was like, I don't want to be the next Rock, I don't want to be the next John Cena, I just want to be a good actor.
Yeah.
And I think that's really commendable of him to make that stance.
And Dave Villeneuve said he was the best wrestler turned actor.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it was him who said
Oh
that.
wait, that guy's a wrestler?
Dave
He
Bautista
was,
was. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the ex wrestlers that we have as actors are The Rock, John Cena, and Dave Bautista. Those are the three major they were major wrestlers that turned over to
WWE
acting.
guys.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense based
He looks
on
at
their looks.
physique.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's it for today's episode. Next week we'll be doing more than likely Knock on the Cabin.
Freedom's Path is the other movie coming out, but so probably not.
Probably. There is one You People is coming out, which I think will be a fun rom-com to watch, but
Nice.
apparently
Oh yay!
that's with Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy.
Nice.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy are in a romantic relationship together and try to figure out how to... No. No, it's Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy's daughter are in a relationship. Like, not his actual daughter, but in the movie...
Oh wait. Okay, you said Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy's daughter.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying Jonah Hill and Eddie Murphy, their daughter.
They're just all over the place.
I know. Okay.
To be fair,
Jonah
that's
Hill
what I thought
is
also.
dating Eddie Murphy's daughter in the movie.
The movie,
Eddie
Eddie
Murphy's
Murphy has a daughter, and Jonah Hill is dating that daughter.
Yes.
And that's
Okay.
the joke.
We're on the same
Solid.
page.
It's similar to 22 Jump Street
Oh.
with...
I still haven't seen that. I've only seen 21.
Well, okay. Well, I guess it is only the second one.
21.
Yeah.
Can
Well, on the
do
second one,
something
Jonah
for
Hill
me.
dates the captain's daughter.
Jeez.
It's great. It's actually really funny.
Aren't
They're-
the Men in Black in that one?
I don't know.
Here come the men in black.
Okay, doesn't matter. We need to move on. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next week. Have a good week.
Hey, moron!
You talking to me? You talking to me?
And there seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
Hello?
What an idiot!
Well, what do you expect? I'm the Movie Moron.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Don't call me stupid.
Oh, right! To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people! I've known sheep that could outwit you.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense.
No, none taken.